My name is Ladilvia Lee. I'm the owner of My Budget Therapy LLC. You can find us at www.mybudgettherapy.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, and it's My Budget Therapy. Today, I'm going to go over the budget workbook that we've created for your use. We also have physical copies of a budget planner and a financial inspection workbook, and you can also purchase those from our website. When you go into this workbook, there is a guide that tells you what the pages are for, and it also gives you instructions on how to make copies of the pages. So as you can see here, there's a budget template and expense tracker template. You'll want to copy these and rename them with the month that you're going to use. When you go to the bill list, this is just an overview, and I've pre-filled it out so you can kind of have a view. This is just an overview of what your bills look like for the month and what your income looks like. These are only estimates, and we'll use the budget template and the expense tracker to actually put in your actuals. As you can see here, we've put in multiple vendor bills, and in the bill description, you do have a drop down to choose what the description is. You can put in a due date, or you can put in monthly or weekly and the estimated amount. The same goes for your payer. If you get paid 4 times a month, you can put it in 4 times, or you can do one line item and multiply your income by 4 and any other income that you may have. It does total your expenses and it totals your income, and it will give you a balance. Your budget template, which I love, allows you to put in 4 pay periods. If you need more, please email us and let us know, and we can add a 5th budget template. When you use this budget template, you'll put in your pay date here, and you'll notice that when you scroll, the balance stays here, so you can always see what your balance is as you're inputting income and expenses. You'll start off by doing your estimates, and you can do it for the entire month to ensure you cover all of your bills. And then when you actually get paid, or you actually pay the bill, you can put in your actuals, and it will give you the difference. If it's a positive number, it means you came in under budget. If it's a negative number, it means you went over budget. You also have the ability to mark this as paid or not paid, so you can keep track of what you've paid and not paid. And you can also do the same for your fixed expenses, which are things you have to have and typically don't change in amount. And then you have your variable expenses, which is your groceries and your gas, and that may vary each month. Also, this spreadsheet will tell you what percentage of your income is being used for your fixed expenses and your variable expenses. Don't forget to pay yourself first, and there's also line items for your savings, and it will tell you what percentage of your income you're putting towards your savings. At the bottom of the sheet, it will summarize everything for you. What was your total estimates? What was your total actual, which should zero out, and what the difference was. It will also summarize for you, and this covers the entire month, what your fixed expenses were, what percent of your income it was, and it does the same for your variable and your savings. When you go to your expense tracker, it will allow you to track what you spend for the month. We don't always use a debit card all the time, so you do have a drop-down option to put in what payment method you used. You can put in the vendor. Your category is also a drop-down. And if it's an expense, you would put in a negative amount. And if it's money you're receiving, you would put in a positive amount. You're also going to put in here not only your expenses, but what payments you received, so you can keep track of your balances. Here you will see summaries, and this will base it on what category you used and the total amount you spent in that category. Or you can look at what vendor you used the most and the total amount you spent with that vendor. And it will show you what payment method you used the most. With these, you will have to click on the pivot table and click Pivot Table Analyze and refresh all when you put in new data. There's also instructions here on how to update these tables if you want a summary. Your 1-year forecast is similar to your budget. except you're just forecasting for the year. All of these numbers are estimates, and you can see where you stand if you were to make more income or if you were to incur more expenses. It just gives you an estimate of what your next year will look like, and you can try to determine if you want to cut any expenses, try to make more income, or save a little more. We'll get to my favorite two tabs, which is the emergency fund tab and the debt payments tab. Most people who have an emergency fund already have a goal in mind, whether it's $1,000 or whether it's $10,000. You can always update your goal. And as you place money in this account or take it out, you would put in the transaction, and this table will automatically update to show your progress. It will also show you here what percent you're complete and what percent remains. So if we were to add $400 to our emergency fund, our percentage will move up and we have a smaller amount remaining. The debt payment tab is similar. You will put in what your debt is at the beginning, and you can do this for multiple debts by copying this tab over and renaming them. You will put in your beginning debt and any payments, and if you incur any fees, you can put it here. And as you make payments, it will update your progress towards payoff, and you can also see your percent complete here and the percent remaining to be paid. This interest rate is the rate that your company is charging you interest on your debt. What I forgot to mention was with the emergency fund, you can copy this over too. If you do a sinking fund, you can copy this over and rename it to whatever sinking fund you use. Last but not least, we did add a bill tracker. If you remember, on our budget template, you have the ability to track whether it's paid or not paid. If you don't prefer to do it this way, you can use the bill tracker. And you can list all of your bills for the month and the due dates. And each month you can mark off if it's been paid, if it remains unpaid, maybe it's been postponed for some reason, or if it's something like vehicle taxes, which is only due once a year, you can mark it as not due. The categories list tab you really don't want to mess with unless you need to add something. All of your drop down lists within this spreadsheet is feeding from this tab. If you needed more categories, you could add it at the bottom here. If you needed more options, you can add them at the bottom of these lists here. That summarizes our budget spreadsheet. If there's anything you would like to see added, or if you find any errors, please let us know. Again, you can reach us on Facebook or Instagram. You can also go to our contact page on www.mybudgettherapy.com, or you can email us at mybudgettherapist@gmail.com. I hope you enjoy.